Let me do a little update. I've been holding off because I have so many videos. But I'm sitting here with Levi. I saw a lot of my friends earlier. Look, he gave me, Levi makes arrowheads. Now he made this one out of glass. That's beautiful, he just gave to me. But this is an actual one he had found, not made. And he even showed me on his phone. This is sort of like somewhat of an expensive one, so that's a blessing. I never sell what my friends give me, I save them. This is kind of going to be a little news update. Let me start with the first reason I said, let me turn this phone on. Behind me, I won't put the young lady on video because I didn't talk to her and she does not know who I am. But I recognized her. I covered her case in the last few months because Nueces County put her in jail for 1 year illegally. Now, I talked about her case on my videos. She was accused of murdering her young child. And she was in the county for 1 year, and obviously the bond was very high. But then they tested the DNA under the child's fingernails, and it was the boyfriend who has now been arrested and put in jail. So they released her. This was maybe about a month ago. And I covered her case because they said, you know, she was held. Not only was her daughter or child, a victim, but she was a victim too. You know, I don't recognize faces that easily, but I recognized hers. I didn't really talk to her. She was sitting here. She's right behind me and from a distance. But she said, just talking to other people, she said, you know, they kept me in that jail for 1 year. Just didn't even mention what the case was, but I'm familiar with it. And she's now trying to get resolution on that, which I found that interesting. I forget her name. I recognize her face. She's right behind me, and I will not put her on video. She's going in Timmins. So that being that's a case I spoke on, I thought it was just interesting that she's here. Now, I'll walk a little bit because I got to do a couple of little news updates. That was one. Levi is right next to me here. The other thing I talked about on news the last few months, I kind of have made a couple of strong posts on Sheriff Jim Kalen. Those of you that watched him, I kind of said, God will remove him from office. I do those videos. You know, he quit today. Now, the way the local media cover when somebody quits, they say he decided to retire. But I'll tell you, from being a political observer here, that was a shock to the local community because Sheriff Kalen, his term is not up, obviously, and I think he's going to leave, within a few weeks. But that was a surprise because I also heard that, besides reading it on all the local media, I also heard that on the Jim Lagos show, who Sheriff Kalen used to be a guest. So that was kind of a prophetic word, if you will, that came to pass. I also just read another case that I followed this last year. I've commented on it. And there was a local talk show host by the name of Eric Von Wade. I used to listen to him on and off on our talk venue out of Corpus Christi. And I remember his case, he came prominent last year because his girlfriend accused him of an assault, which he denied. Okay, so he was arrested by CCPD, on an assault charge. Then, when he got out, he had complained on his talk show on 12-something Keys, a local talk show which he does not have anymore. But he used that venue, his radio show, to defend himself, and he also said his girlfriend had stolen his vehicle while he was in jail, I think his truck, and he couldn't get the cops to kind of move on that, which would be auto theft. Now, supposedly, he felt like the cops did wrong in everything in his particular case. That was his point of view. And eventually, the cops said they located it. It was kind of down by the valley, I think, close to Mexico. But there was no arrest or anything. So he felt like maybe his girlfriend falsely accused him, and while he was in jail, she had his vehicle stolen, and that they didn't follow up on it. Eric Von Wade is in the news today because his case was dropped. The DA, now this is dealing with the DA, okay? So we talked a little bit about all the issues you hear me speak on. But the DA dropped his case with prejudice, meaning they're not going to bring it back no matter what. Why? The media, local media is reporting that the district attorney's office illegally listened to phone calls between Eric Von Wade and his lawyer while he was being held in the county jail before he bonded out, which is illegal to do. Now, the first assistant DA by the name of Mark Manning admitted that they did it and they were not supposed to do it. And the report on local media said that the DA could fight that, but they decided to not fight something that they recognized was wrong. I think he's probably being honest about it, meaning the DA's office is trying to be upfront about things, but why they did indeed violate the law by listening in to Eric Von Wade and his lawyer shows me that, so these were all things I spoke about in the last year, and I figured let me do the update. You did get to see Levi, and I saw a lot of my friends today. There's a lot of different things going on. But when that girl, the one who was held for 1 year, falsely accused of the murder of her child, when she was released, the DA's office, Mark Gonzalez, did right when they released her, but I had commented on her case. She's not a regular here, and why she's now on the streets, if you will, here in Flower Bluff, I don't know. But I recognized her face, and then on her own, as she was talking to some other people, she said, they kept me in jail for a year, wrongfully. And I didn't even talk to that young girl. I found that interesting, though. So I wanted to do that update because it covered 2 or 3 different things. The other day, I've had more than one instance where I was talking to friends and they confirmed things, meaning my friends in the street might quote a scripture and the other friend has something confirmed. And it would have been hard for me to share this one, but I'll do it without mentioning names. When I was with one of my friends the other day, I was teaching the story of King David and how in the victory he chopped off the head of Goliath and paraded the head down the street, sort of like Goliath. David said, "Here's the victory of the Lord." Now, obviously, we don't condone violence. But that was a friend that I was teaching with. Well, the next day, I was with that friend and another friend, and they know each other well. And when here's Andy. I'll have him say hi. I'm going to finish the story. Say hi real quick, Andy.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm in the middle of the story.
Okay.
Let me finish it, and I'll meet you up here.
All right, yeah.
Brother Andy. Yes. So when we were together, a couple of us, one of my friends mentioned that he was threatened by some younger guys. This is kind of the new group that's been in Flower Bluff, and some of my friends have been around for years. And he's telling me, John, I know as a Christian I'm not supposed to retaliate. He said, but when those young kids kind of threatened him, he said, I'll tell you what, they were going to come after him and get him right then. He said, if you don't kill me, I guarantee you, he said, I'll be back again. It might be 6 months. And he said, I'd be able to basically do what David did to Goliath. And he's explaining the story. And what stuck in his head was the word. He said, what's that word when you carry your head down the middle of the street? And I was thinking it's strange because that was a story we were discussing the day before. And he had that in his mind for about 20 minutes. What do you call that word when you carry your head down the street? And then he said, that's it, parading it. Now, of course, we don't condone any of that. But all of that was the same things that they were discussing the last few days when that came up. And I found it interesting that a lot of times my friends will say things and they will be confirming things to one another. And so I just shared that one because that was one of those interesting things. So this is a little update, and you see some of my friends. I'm going to go talk to them right now, and that should be it for today. God bless everybody.